like he's no item.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm your host, Nia, and welcome to the Phases Podcast, the Unpopular Genre. I feel like this is great because I haven't recorded in my safe space in quite some time. Life has been lifing, and let me just say this. Due to the fact that life has been lifing, I didn't even want to go off these notes today. I don't want to do any of that. I want to have a very transparent episode. I do feel like a lot of the times, when you come to the camera prepared as you do and you're trying to present obviously in a way that you want to, it can be a little bit of a disconnect for some reason, I'm understanding. To some people, rather it's just the way that they receive or, maybe seeing something different than what they used to. I don't know. But I definitely said I just want to start checking in and just doing some more, try to be a little bit more relatable, even though I thought I was. But maybe it's just my own perception. But I just want to start being trying to be a little bit more transparent and more relatable. And I think it's going to start with me speaking more about who I am. That way I can connect more with my peoples, even on my socials, because we got the other camera going on today. But, just definitely being a lot more transparent, but as well as letting you guys know a little bit more about me so that we can know how we can, connect better. I think is the point at which I'm at. You figure I've been doing a pod now for a long while actually. And I could be going harder, and I'm definitely working on going harder now actually. So I want to spend these next few episodes kind of just letting you guys in a little bit. We're not going to be long-winded, but definitely kind of a little brief. And honestly, this is also some stuff I'm going to be just kind of speaking more to my YouTube about anyway, so you might hear it, multiple times. But as you know, my name is Nia. I am 28. I feel like part of the reason why I even started my YouTube channel, should I say originally, when I wanted to start my YouTube channel, I was very much just obsessed and in love with talking about relationships. And this is when I was younger, obviously, and as I just have developed and actually started getting consistent on my YouTube, it has transpired into so many different phases of who I am. And it honestly has come down to even what my podcast means, phases. You obviously see different, parts of your life and different seasons of your life as a person, how you develop. And, a lot of times that only happens to people that's trying to grow, trying to do better, trying to evolve. And that was part of where the name came in, thanks to my baby daddy. But he also definitely helped me curate the name. And I got the unpopular genre from the fact that, like I said, it's not a lot of people that want to do that. So when you do step out into that lane, you're kind of in its own little community. Because what you'll find is not a lot of people are even at this point of self-awareness or, the thought process of evolving and doing better and stepping outside of everything that they already know. Part of where I do know a lot of things picked up a little bit with the YouTube was when I started being very raw, which was when I spoke about my religious background. If you don't know, part of my life has been being a Jehovah's Witness and kind of talking about my experience with that. And I think that's where kind of I started talking more about identity and showing up as you and understanding what you want for yourself. That's kind of the turn in which that season has come. And now I feel like I'm in the season or the phase of living, and living in truth. We've already acknowledged truth, and whatnot, and now we're living in it. Even now, I did briefly, a year ago, even when I had changed a little bit of directions with religion and took my shahada and became Muslim, I feel like a lot of people was even asking me about that as I had, embarked on that journey. And even now, what I can just say to you is, please do not, let me say this. I want to be an example of the life that I want to live, right? So the only way you can do that is just by living your life like that. So I just with that being said, like, you don't see me really posting a lot about religion. And in all actuality, I'm at a point where really just acknowledging like where I'm at with it as well as where I'm not. And I think when you have just seen life through the lenses in which I have, you kind of come to a very raw understanding of God, creation, the universe, how it all coincides. And you just really learn to do what works for you. So even when it comes to religion, like, I'm not really religious. I'm very highly spiritual though. I look at God like, how do you view me in every aspect of my life, not just through this realm of religion, you know? And it's taken me going through that religious journey for me to realize like what works best for me. And I remember I've said on this platform some time ago, like, if it's not adding to my general purpose, and I might put a clip up just to kind of rerun it back, but if it's not adding to like my overall purpose and me into God and like keeping a focus on it, I don't really want any parts of it. So honestly, even with me kind of like taking power over my spiritual journey, when it comes to religion, it just has been curating, curated to, not to say like, oh, only taking away from it what you want, but I also don't want to argue my beliefs. I don't want to argue my beliefs because I know what my belief system is. I know what I do believe. I know what I don't. I know what I'm doing and what I'm not doing. So, part of all of this has just been, once again, curating who I am. And I'm not going to hold you. Part of what made me like really start doing that is just realizing like I'm not trying to be jumping around identities. Like, I felt like I kept shifting. Like, okay, I will go over here and it's like, okay, this don't fit over here. I go over there, I'm just not really vibing like that here. And always trying to feel like I have to exist within something in order to feel like a sense of belonging. And where my season has been recently is just being okay with belonging to self, At the end of the day, God is the only person that can see everything, know everything, and be amongst everything. So when you kind of just look at that on that realm, you just try to put him in every aspect of your life, not just the comfortable parts, you know what I'm saying? Not just the relatable parts, not just the basic parts. You really just look at it on a greater aspect. And I think to people that are more religious, that may not sit well with them, but it also is not for them to accept. I have truly realigned my accountability to God, like, seriously and honestly, just taking my power back, mainly because I have seen how much power can be taken away from you as a person when you just don't stand strong in what you believe. Don't stand strong in your life experiences. Life really is the greatest teacher. And our experiences is our greatest teacher. And I think so many times, like, we try to ignore these experiences and downplay and do all these, other things because it doesn't really fit into a lot of people's ideology, when in all actuality, that's what really makes the world go round, to see everybody embrace the background and everything that they've come from and see how we can kind of use it for good, And that's really where I'm at right now. I'm not trying to fit into anybody's description of where I should be and what I want to do, because let me tell you, it has kept me captive in procrastination for some time. I didn't realize the other part of procrastination, when it's very much involuntary. And it can become involuntary when you are not, like, when you're not solid in who you are. And you're figuring it out, you know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with figuring it out, but just know, like, once you do start figuring it out, you have to start take control over your life. And as crazy as that may seem, right? Take control of your life or whatever, however you may look at that. Just know, like, you really be like in a lost, you know what I'm saying, a lost state of mind until you figure it out, because what you'll come to learn is, like, life will offer you any route that you want to take. And that is a very scary thing sometimes to even think about. Any route in life, there is so many different routes in this life you can take. And if you're not careful, you can be going down a route or a road that you never even anticipated, simply because you didn't take control over the parts of the life that you can take control over. Fear really keeps a lot of us captive. And I can speak from my own experiences. It really does. You start paying attention to everybody's perspective of what you think what you think you should be doing, what you feel ashamed of for wanting to do, just so many things. And let me just tell you, like, once you start flicking off those distractions, you'll really feel like a whole lot better and a lot more in control of your destiny, you know? It took me a while to really even hit the point of understanding, like, God has, like, a purpose for me, you know? Because I was so long trying to fit God into this religious box, because I believed at one point that that was the only way to be in connection with him, until I've literally lived my own experience and seen how thinking that will literally have you at risk of really losing your relationship with God. Because the moment I feel like I don't fit into some type of image, then is the moment that I start feeling that disconnect. And in all actuality, everybody's on their journey to come closer, not to take steps further away. And it's people who will allow us or guilt us into those steps being taken away. So once you start, like, just living in your truth, live your life, you'll start to really just feel the benefit, see the recognition, you know, and validation, where it's like only God can understand, you know. And I'm at the point of adulting where it's like stuff is so spiritually felt and just like environmental for me, where I don't even have to explain it. The energy alone is going to reveal itself, you know what I'm saying? So I think I just want to really, with that being said, like, really start, like, taking this, I guess, the phases into the next season, you know, which is very much just existing here, you know, as well as speaking about how we even got here. You know, some people just like, oh, you know, you act like you don't have no problems and da-da-da-da. And it's like, oh, no, I have problems, but I don't make them the focal point of my life. And that's why I do want to enjoy these next few episodes of just, like, speaking a little bit about it. Just so you guys can just know a little bit more. And if you don't really see it on here, definitely check out my regular YouTube platform, where I, you know, do a lot more sit-down videos, you know, whenever I get edited. But just more so being a little bit more transparent. I'm in a very transparent season, especially when you see the impact that you have. You know, you don't realize, at least me, I don't realize, because I don't look at the room of people I know as me being, like, impactful. I go for people that I don't, like, my outsourcing my audience. So it's like, even once you do have friends and family members that see, like, what you're doing and they acknowledge it, it does feel good, very good, because you are, at least for me, I've already, like, outsourced the support, you know, just to not have unfulfilled expectations. Let's keep it real. So I think that's just really where I was at with it. Like, no notes today, no, just very raw, real, where we're at with things, you know. Even in my personal life, I'm in a very interesting season, you know, of transition and evolving, and it's a road. It's very much a road, but I am ready to just keep going on the journey. Like, I've been so real with y'all since I've started my channel. And I think it's just a matter of sometimes just seeing it can be done, seeing that you can really go through shit and smile on the other side and be, like, victorious is very important. And I think if more people acknowledge that, we will embrace these indifferences that we have versus keeping a lot of this animosity, you know, towards each other because of the shame, the guilt, the embarrassment. You know, if we just keep it real and raw, you know, you can't really go wrong with that. So that's really just the message that we add for today. I want to thank you for your time, as always. And without any further ado, I will see you in the next video.